Hello, I'm author Denise Turney, and you are watching the Chisto, CHISTELL.com YouTube channel, and I'm going to do a reading for you from my newest book, Rosetta's Greater Hope, and it is a young adult book. If you know again, I was a voracious reader. I read up to 30, 50 books a week when I was a kid. If you know somebody who's a voracious book reader, or you just want to encourage them to develop a healthy appetite for reading, which I mean, reading helped me with school immensely. I knew what to focus on, what to study. It just came so easy to me because I read so much. But if you want to encourage reading, or if you have a young adult who just loves to read, and somebody between the ages of, I would say, 7 to 13, go get them a copy of Rosetta's Great Hope. This is the first in a book series. She is some kind of 10-year-old. So I really encourage you to get a copy of the book. But I'm going to do a reading from at the start, not the very beginning, but I'm on page 3 of Rosetta's Great Hope. And I did a reading from the start. If you look back, if you subscribe to the Chiss.com YouTube channel, you probably heard the earlier reading. But so I'm going to start here. The front door swung open. Cold air blasted into the living room. It felt like someone had turned on an ice fan. Cincinnati, Ohio's December temperatures were at record lows. Rosetta's father, Robert Blay, smiled and waved to Rosetta while he walked through the living room into the art room where Rosetta's mother was painting. "What's Rosetta in the living room talking about?" he asked Linda after he greeted her with a kiss. Project demands at the marketing firm where he worked melted away. He was glad to be home. Linda chuckled at the question. 10-year-old Rosetta was always up to something. It was hard for her mother to know what Rosetta was planning. Linda figured Rosetta made plans in her sleep. One thing was certain. Rosetta Blay, 2 long pigtails, going like fresh vine down the sides of her head, was no one to ignore. "I don't know," Linda answered. "You know how that girl is." "Well, she was on her cell phone saying something about a Jennifer when I walked through the door." He paused. "Isn't that the name of the girl Rosetta got put in detention over? Remember," he said to his wife, "Rosetta threatened to fight that girl 2 months ago." He shook his head. "Rosetta never got into trouble at school until that incident." He gave his wife a telling glance. "I say we find out what she's up to come dinner time." "Oh," Linda sighed, "Rosetta will let us know soon enough. That girl can't keep a secret. She was probably on the phone talking with Paulette." She shook her head. "Goodness, when those 2 girls get together." She placed her paintbrush on the easel tray. "Rosetta's full of mischief. She's nothing like Francine or Leroy." An hour later, the entire family was in the kitchen. Rosetta's older sister, Francine, sang a popular rhythm and blues song while she helped her mother cook a tuna casserole. At the edge of the kitchen counter, Rosetta tossed the chef's salad. Her father would set the table while Rosetta's brother Leroy fed the family dog, a husky named Joe. Francine, Leroy, and Rosetta went to the same school, Harriet Tubman School on 5th Avenue. Leroy was in the 7th grade. Francine was in the 8th grade, 3 grades ahead of Rosetta. As far as Rosetta saw, she was in the grade that all the cool kids were in, the 5th grade. "Rosetta," Francine stopped singing and frowned. "How many times are you going to toss that salad until the lettuce is as small as crumbs?" "Mind your business," Rosetta snapped. "Cut that fuss out and sit down and eat," Robert told his daughters. Rosetta took the salad to the table and sat down next to Leroy. He was 2 years older than she was, but he was her favorite person in the family. She loved her mother and father, but they were always finding her faults and letting her know about every one of them. "Sit up straight," they'd tell her. "Stop popping that gum," her mother would fuss. Chief of them all was, "Rosetta Blay, stop rolling your eyes." Her parents told her that they were guiding her to become a responsible and joyous young woman. That's what they told her, but Rosetta wasn't buying it. To her, she was the kid in the family, and everybody except Leroy picked on her. Linda sat at the kitchen table last. She laid a pan of seasoned broccoli on the table. Then she said grace. "All right, everybody, dig in," she chimed while she raised her head. "This tuna casserole looks delicious." Rosetta pursed her lips. "Not if Francine put her hands on it." Linda looked at her youngest daughter. "Rosetta?" Rosetta's Great Hope. I encourage you to get a copy of it and read it to a young person, or let them read it for themselves. Please subscribe to our Chisel.com YouTube channel, and I'll see you back here next week. Bye for now.